Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman of the Football History Dude podcast, and I'm stopping by this show real quick to tell you about a couple of cool giveaways that we have going on here at the network. Both are autographed books covering various topics of the NFL. The first is The Point After: How One Resilient Kicker Learned There Is More to Life Than the NFL by ex-NFL kicker Sean Conley. It goes over his unique experience as a walk-on kicker at the University of Pitt after never playing high school football. And then it gets into some of his time playing for NFL teams and so much more beyond the gridiron. The other is from author Kevin Bryant. His book is titled Spies on the Sidelines: The High-Stakes World of NFL Espionage. This book started as a curiosity, kind of a passion project to understand everything revolving around, well, Spygate. But this put Kevin down a rabbit hole learning about all sorts of espionage that has occurred throughout the history of the NFL. Both permissible and often the illicit techniques of gathering intel to try to impact the outcome of the game. To sign up for your chance to win an autographed copy of one of these books, all you gotta do is head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways and sign up. That's sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. Again, check out all the other podcasts that we have in the Sports History Network as well. But now, back to your regularly scheduled journey to the sports history timeline.
In this episode of the Football History Rewind, part number 55, we discuss the 1924 pro football season, as well as many more Hall of Fame legendary stories, including an awesome coach in Guy Chamberlain. It's all coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of pigskindispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to positive football history. And we're looking back in history today through that portal that we so love. And we're going into our Football History Rewind part number 55, talking about the 1924 National Football League season. It was the fifth season of the National Football League. It was filled with change and some familiar faces as well. The league went into the season with 18 teams, down from the 20 that participated the previous season in 1923. The Cleveland Indians, Toledo Maroons, Oorang Indians, Louisville Brecks, and the St. Louis All-Stars franchises all folded up shop, but some new blood was instilled into the fray to make it a net loss of only two teams. The Kansas City Blues, Kenosha Maroons, and the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets all debuted as new franchises for the 1924 NFL season. But what about the Canton Bulldogs? Well, they were no more, at least for the 1924 season. We'll come back to that when we talk about 25, though. The Cleveland Indians are an interesting story, though. Apparently, the owner of the Cleveland Indians pro football team that they ended up folding, more or less, he was a Cleveland area jeweler named Sam Deutsch, and he entered into an agreement on August 4th, 1924 to buy the Canton Bulldogs franchise, players, equipment, yes, the whole kit and caboodle. It's the same Canton Bulldogs team that were the two-time defending NFL champions after the 1923 season. The sale was a win for both teams, as Canton's owners had great teams with good attendance at the games, but were struggling to turn a profit, while Cleveland had cash flow but lacked the firepower to put fannies in the stands. So before the 1924 season started, Deutsch named his head coach as Guy Chamberlain, the player coach and stud player from the University of Nebraska, who through his strategy and coaching led the Bulldogs to their 1922 and 1923 NFL championships in Canton. Now, Deutsch demanded that some of the core players of his former Indians team still be in the lineup, especially quarterback Hoge Workman, an All-American from nearby Ohio State and a fan favorite. The Cleveland Bulldogs were a powerhouse, as the combined rosters of the Indians and Bulldogs were what in essence was an all-star team of the two clubs. He promoted them as the Cleveland Bulldogs team and continued the Canton Bulldogs' unbeaten streak by dispatching the Chicago Bears in their opener 16-14, which was a really big game, as we'll talk about in just a moment. Tying the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets the next week, and then rattling off a string of victories over the likes of the Akron Pros twice, Rochester Jeffersons, and the Dayton Triangles, all very formidable foes. Now, it was on November 16th, though, riding a 31-game unbeaten streak dating back to Canton, that the Bulldogs were finally defeated on the gridiron, and it was the second meeting with the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets that ended the streak, as the Jackets knocked off the Dogs 12-7 in Cleveland. And speaking about those Frankfurt Yellow Jackets in 1924, the Frankfurt team played their inaugural game as an official member of the NFL by knocking off a tough Rochester team by the score of 24-0. That first year was indeed a successful campaign for the Jackets, as they played to a 17-3-1 overall record and an official NFL mark of 11-2-1. With both of these losses coming at the hands of George Halas and his powerful Chicago Bears team. They played more games than most, mainly due to the Pennsylvania Blue laws that prohibited professional sports to be played in the Commonwealth on the Sabbath. Now, Brian Michaels, who came and talked to us back last year from Shibe Park T-shirt shop, and he wrote a book called, on Frankfurt team. There's a Philadelphia Eagles book, but the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets are, of course, the predecessors to the Eagles. We'll get into that in some other posts. But Brian describes that this forced Frankfurt's 11 to play their home games on Saturdays and then often traveled with their opponents back to that team's home and play again on Sunday. Playing twice a week was grueling, but really displays how good the squad was to accomplish such a lofty record. Number 17-3-1. The debut season of the Yellow Jackets ended up placing them in third place in the National Football League, but they had their sights set on a higher goal. Now, the race for the 1924 NFL Championship was really a great one. It was a five-way horse race, five main contenders that emerged for the NFL Championship title in 1924 as it came down to the wire. The Buffalo Bisons, Chicago Bears, Cleveland Bulldogs, Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, and the Green Bay Packers were all in there in November at the top of the standings. Well, Buffalo sort of shot themselves in the foot out of contention by dropping their last three games to go from 6-2 as a record to 6-5 and end up somewhat mediocre in the league. Now, Green Bay also stumbled late, going from a substantial 6-2 record to fall to 7-4. And this left Cleveland and Chicago to contend for the title, since Frankfurt had two losses and the other two teams only one. Teams such as the Duluth Kellys and the Rock Island Independents would have been contenders for the title, but their more limited schedules, only 6 games for Duluth and only 9 for Rock Island, effectively ruled them out for title contention compared to the other teams. But November 30th was declared as the end of the season, and when that day arrived, Cleveland just sat ahead of Chicago and Frankfurt in the standings. The ever-conniving George Halas pulled the old trick out of the bag and challenged Cleveland to a postseason contest between the two clubs. That sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Because the Chicago owner did that same ploy against Buffalo in the 1921 season, beat Buffalo, and then took the crown. The Bears defeated the Bulldogs, too, in this post-November 30th game, and seemingly thought they had crafted another second-place finish into a title. But the NFL brass, headed by Joe Carr, declared the standings on November 30th as final, and all games thereafter were simply exhibition contests with no merit for the championship declaration by the National Football League. So basically, for the third straight year, the Bulldogs were declared the NFL champions, 1922 and 23 in Canton, 1924 in Cleveland, and Coach Guy Chamberlain coached all three teams. And he was truly a special leader in pro football. And we've seen a lot of salutes out there to Guy Chamberlain lately, and he is really a very, very good coach. Probably his equivalent in modern day times would be somebody like a Bill Belichick. But just a tremendous 1924 season, extremely interesting, and I hope you found it interesting. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of history of the National Football League in 1924. Remember, we're going through football history year by year and all the way up through 1924 now. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you tune back tomorrow for some more great sports history and here on the Pigskin Dispatch. Till tomorrow, then, have a great gridiron day. Peeking up at the clock, the time's running down. We're going to go into victory formation, take a knee, and let this baby run out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow for the next podcast. We invite you to check out our website, pigskinddispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskinddispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. A special thanks to the talents of Mike and Jean Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so
retro
it was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
flowers.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.